Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Sable Library podcast. I am your host, Alex, and this week I am joined by Tory. Welcome again, Tory.
Hello.
And Meg from Children's Services. Welcome, Meg.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for coming back. As I think, Tory, you pointed out earlier, this is the first time the three of us have done an episode together.
By our powers combined.
Yeah, the few episodes that I missed, you both have taken
true.
over as the hosts, so thank you.
This will be something. I'm excited.
Something.
Triple host energy.
Double host and an observer.
Okay, casual observer.
Yes.
So this is a What Are You Into episode, so we're going to go around and talk about some things that we're into right now. So this should be very interesting. It always is. I don't mind going first to start us off.
Tell us what you're
That's
into,
okay with
Alex.
you? All right, I'm bringing three things to the table today. I'm going to get a book that I recently finished out of the way first because it's a little bit of a downer, but the other two things I promise are much lighter. So the book I just finished is called They Came for the Schools by Mike Hixenbaugh, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He actually had a podcast called Southlake, which won a Peabody Award and was nominated for a Pulitzer, and then this is a book adaptation of that podcast. So basically it tells the story of the author Hixenbaugh's hometown, Southlake, Texas. It's a wealthy suburb of Dallas, and it gained kind of national attention. It became one of the first, if not the first, cities that became sort of like this new culture war over public education. So the story kind of unfolds as the Southlake High School, which is regarded across the entire state as one of the best high schools in the state, starts having some reports coming out of harassment of LGBTQ students and their students of color, and the school, to address these, comes out with some diversity training programs and policies, and then this causes a huge backlash from the parents in the town, and the parents basically take this to national news, so that now the story is getting national attention. All of these national political groups start to get involved, money starts flowing in, one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you have complete takeovers of the school boards, the library boards, all of this stuff is happening. So it's a really fascinating story. It's Hixenbaugh, who's a fantastic reporter, just, all of this stuff just happened to be happening in his hometown, and then, this kind of became the template that these political organizations started using across towns all across the country. So this was like the first kind of ground zero of all of this stuff happening. I think it's an important book to read, to be aware that these things are happening. They're happening maybe in the town next door. You might not even be aware of it. But it's also like a nice reminder that, especially in an election year, that politics is still very much local. Everything starts locally. It's not always just about who's the president of the United States. It's, who could be on your school board, your local school board. So it's just a very nice reminder of that as well. And it's a fascinating story. It's a chilling story. And you get to see how all of these policies and how everything affects all the individual characters in these towns. So he interviews some of the original students that were harassed. He interviews, both sides of the, political line. And it's just a really fascinating story. It's so well told. It's so well reported. And I can see why it won the Peabody and was a Pulitzer nominated story. So it's just, it's a really important story. I think everyone should give it a shot. Again, it's called They Came for the Schools by Mike Hixenbaugh. Check it out.
It sounds unfortunately very interesting, but also very relevant to us.
Yes, it very is. It's very, if you're interested in public libraries, this definitely fits in with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you said it was a podcast that got adapted into a book.
Mm-hmm.
We were big podcast fans here. Would you say that the podcast is just as worthwhile checking out, or is the book a lot more detailed? And
I haven't listened to the podcast, but maybe I will. I don't know if I want to revisit the story.
Maybe give it some time.
But the podcast is called Southlake. If you're more into podcasts than you are picking up a book or an audiobook, maybe check that out instead.
Is the audiobook done in a podcast style, or did you actually physically read it?
I physically read it. I would imagine the audiobook is just read.
Okay. Fair.
Right from the book. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like so much investigative, I guess, is what I assume the podcast is more like, because I'm sure the podcast was happening like at the moment in real time. The book is more
looking back,
historical.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
As opposed to what's happening.
Exactly. I mean, it's still going on, but yeah, it's more reflective, I guess, and kind of...
How did we get here?
Yeah, and I'm sure it's more encompassing, too, because it's looking at things, after the fact. So, he's not piecing it together as it's happening.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I think, sure. If you're interested at all in public policy, school boards, the libraries, I think this is definitely worth a read.
Yeah, especially because, as you said, it's an election year. So I feel like it would be an interesting time for someone to read.
Keep in mind as they think about things.
Very timely. All right, I promise the next two things I'll talk about are much lighter than that.
Yay!
But it is one of my favorite books of the year right now, currently. Okay, who wants to go next?
I've got a book as well. I almost also picked a downer nonfiction book, and I almost wish I had so we could just continue the theme, but I didn't, so I'll save that for another time. But mine is maybe my favorite book that I've read this year. It's called Service Model by Adrian Tchiakovsky, and it's a science fiction novel. I've got a little description. Humanity is a dying breed, utterly reliant on artificial labor and service. When a domesticated robot gets a nasty little idea downloaded into their core programming, they murder their owner. The robot then discovers, The robot then discovers they can also do something else they never did before, run away. After fleeing the household, they enter a wider world they never knew existed, where the age-old hierarchy of humans at the top is disintegrating, and a robot ecosystem devoted to human well-being is finding a new purpose. So, I don't remember why I read that. I had read the first book in the Murderbot Diaries series for school. It's a novella that was very good about another, robot that has sort of gone rogue with its programming and how it reconciles that in its mind. And then I saw this was coming out, and it sounded really similar. It was advertised as like Murderbot Diaries meets Red Shirts, which is by John Scalzi, which is another book I really like. So I read this because I thought it would be similar to that book, but it wasn't at all. It's very philosophical. It's like this robot going on a journey to discover himself and come to terms with, like, is he a person? Does he have free will? What is his purpose in the world now that there isn't a human around for him to serve? And how does he learn to reconcile all these things and the robots really that he meets along the way in this like post-apocalyptic world, and also what happened in the world to make it like this, where there are only robots. So it was very interesting. It was funny and it was sad. It was very thought-provoking. And the audiobook, which is how I listened to it, is read by the author. And there's a lot of characters, a lot of robot characters, and he gives them all really distinct voices and personalities in his reading. It was a really long book, but it didn't feel like a drag because he read it so engagingly. So it made me really want to check out more of this author's work, Adrian Tchiakovsky, because he has other books, and he, I think, regularly reads his audiobooks. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this. And I do read a lot of sci-fi, but this wasn't, I would say, like the normal kind that I would read, so I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. But yeah, I would really recommend it if you want some sci-fi that makes you think a little bit about yourself and life.
Sounds really interesting. I think I was telling you off pod recently that I just rewatched Artificial Intelligence, the Spielberg movie, and there's a lot of parallels with this story, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I love this kind of stuff. It's funny. It's like this idea of like artificial intelligence or what is life, like that kind of question seems to like always come back in literature. And it's funny how now where everybody has an AI assistant in their pocket, now it's like more relevant than ever. This same story goes back to like Frankenstein or even earlier. So it's interesting how they keep refreshing these ideas over and over again for not even every generation. Every generation gets every few years revitalization of this story.
I think it's because deep down a lot of people question, like what what is life all about? What is my purpose? And a good way to express that is through some other thing that also doesn't know its purpose. And, applying, because an AI at this point isn't a person and doesn't have thoughts or feelings, you would think. But, just like people came to be what we are now through a big development process, AI could do that too. So it's interesting to think about them also going through that self-exploration that we as humans still haven't really figured out, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the human journey, really, is figuring out what your purpose is. And then, the flip side of it is, AI and robots are designed for a purpose, and then you get into the whole question of free will and everything like that. So, and then humans always, at least in this like hyper capitalistic society we live in now, like how much free will we actually have is probably something a lot of people are questioning as well.
So it's easy to put that onto a thing, right. And do that exploration, not inside yourself, but through
externally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Wow, my book is nothing like that. I guess I could try and make it feel like it is. But I also have a book to talk about, but mine is The Rom-Commers by Katherine, which I personally really enjoyed. I read it for a book club with a group of teacher friends. One of them is a school librarian like me. But unlike me, if anyone's heard me on the podcast before, I love to read romance books, contemporary romance especially. And I think I may have even talked about Katherine on here before, but I feel like she appeals to a pretty wide audience. And something I really enjoy about her writing is that it seems like a normal and pretty straightforward love story, but then she adds in details that I often describe as kind of unhinged. And just like are unnecessarily whimsical almost. Like they didn't need to happen entire plot points. But for example, the plot of this book is that there's a woman she describes herself as a failed screenwriter, in that she had a lot of opportunities in her early adulthood that she had to give up because her father experienced a really traumatic accident and now needs a full-time caretaker. And she had a much younger sister that she ended up having to raise because in the same accident that her father got really badly injured, her mother actually passed away. And so she sacrificed all of her 20s to take care of her family and really prioritize them and kind of lost herself in the process. And the book opens with her best friend from high school, who is now like a manager of celebrities and different people doing different things in Hollywood, saying, hey, I need you to come out and save this screenplay of like the best, hottest screenwriter right now. He just wrote the world's worst rom-com script. And she like wants to turn him down. She won't do it because her sister just graduated from college and is starting her life. And her sister's like, no, you go. And then she goes and has like this insane, chaotic, wild experience in Los Angeles where she has to live in this screenwriter's mansion. And also she shows up and he doesn't know that she's coming. And they like read his script together and like realize how awful it is. And then the two of them go on a journey of her trying to explain why all of the things he wrote in his movie are awful and like don't actually tell a good love story. But then of course, as I think can be expected without giving away any spoilers, they do all of these things and they end up being incredibly romantic and silly. But also he has like a pet long-haired guinea pig that writes with him.
These are the whimsical details.
These are the weird whimsical details where it's like we spent an entire like 5-page, I don't even know what to describe it as, just like talking about this guinea pig and how distracted she is by the guinea pig while she's sitting there trying to write. It's just really, it's silly, it's fun. It handles some really heavy topics, especially with like her dealing with like the trauma of what happened to her parents and sacrificing what she had to for her family and doing it selflessly. Like she would never describe it as sacrificing. And then also the screenwriter, Charlie, has a bunch of other things that he unpacks as well, but it's handled in such a nice way, but also it remains, while talking about heavy topics, remains very light. And is nothing like the books that either of you read, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. My little book club thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was great. Highly recommend. She's a very fun author. If you've read any of her other works, there's also some little nods to some of her other characters, which I always think are fun.
The Katherine Center Extended Universe.
Exactly. Not a series, but like it's fun to be like, oh, hey, I know that guy. which is a good time.
That's fun.
It's not like our books, but I will say something that I like about your description and something I've noticed in romance books that I've read recently is that they have moved to a point where they're really grounded in like real deep background of the characters. Like a lot of times there will be a character that has like a lot of family trauma or something like that that informs all of the decisions that they make in the story. So instead of like a weird miscommunication that could have been easily solved being the crux of the book, it'll be something to do with something realistic that you can relate to as a reader, and that's what that sounded like.
Absolutely. And then also something that I've also been noticing in a lot of the romance books I've been particularly enjoying recently are the ones where the characters are really going through, like you see their growth, and the story is more motivated by them changing and experiencing life in a different way than like just being driven through a relationship by their hormones.
And the romance is a result of that.
Exactly.
Feels like we're in a better place, maybe, because I was very frustrated, with romances for the past few years because they felt very. It's just a romance because it's a romance. Yeah,
exactly.
But, there's some more depth to some of the stuff that has been coming out,
which is really fun. And Alex was saying before we started recording that he's been in a little bit of a reading slump, and I related to that because I read other things, but I do read a lot in the genre. And like you just said, Tori, I found it frustrating that it was the same book over and over and over. And I mean, it has to follow certain key points and beats to be a real romance, but this just felt fresh and fun, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I like the whole, like, not gimmick, but like the premise of them working on a rom-com script as like a vehicle for their budding romance themselves. So it's
it was fun.
interesting.
That's brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, and it gives like the author a chance to talk about like, these are the tenets that must be in a rom-com,
yes.
and then have them play out in the book.
It was really good, especially because it was interesting. 'Cause to me, that's just a given because I read the genre, but the male main character was like, oh, I didn't know that, because he writes the big blockbusters that don't require that. So it was cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you turned things around for us with your book recommendation.
A little bit more positive.
So my next recommendation is a game. Tori, I don't poo-poo mobile games, but I don't play them generally. Mm-hmm. But I'm about to recommend a mobile game.
Can't wait.
And the game is called Arranger.
Arranger?
Arranger. Like I'm arranging things. Yes. It is the story of a ditzy misfit called Gemma who leaves her hometown to explore the world. She doesn't get very far, however, when she discovers that the world is being all mucked up by some creatures called the Static. When Gemma realizes her ditzy tendencies may actually be a latent mythical power, she steps into the role of the legendary Arrangers to set things right. So this game it's described as a puzzle adventure game. It's a puzzle game, and basically the whole gimmick of the puzzle mechanic of the game is when the whole world is sort of looks like a giant crossword puzzle. Basically, it's all a grid, right, with rooms that are rectangles. But instead of hopping around tile to tile to move around the world, Gemma, as an arranger, slides the world beneath her feet. So if she, for instance, moves to the left, all of the tiles on the row that she's currently standing shift to the left with her. So moving her to the left. But if there's furniture or plants or people, they shift with it. So the whole puzzle mechanic of the game is shifting the world and manipulating the objects and the people within it to sort of, unlock whatever doors or progress the story, basically. So it's a very simple mechanic. It's very easy to grasp. You'll get it within a minute of playing the game. The whole game is just swiping up, down, left or right. The artwork is fantastic. It is by an artist, hold on, I have his name here, David Hellman, who did the artwork for one of my all-time favorite games, Braid. So it's a very kind of cartoony style, like something you'd see in a children's book, where it's like bold line work, but like watercolor painting, like backgrounds and characters and everything. So it's beautiful to look at. The thing I really love about this game, and the thing I think it really excels at, is the perfect puzzle games, in my eyes, have a very simple mechanic, and then the game designers kind of push that mechanic as far as it will go. And then once they've exhausted all of the creative ways to manipulate that one mechanic, the game ends. So the game does not outlast itself. I think it's somewhere in the 6 to 8 hour range, not terribly long. But in that 6 to 8 hours, you're never doing the same puzzle twice. It's always using that same mechanic in new and creative ways. And if you haven't really pieced it together, the enemies that are kind of mucking up the world, they are impervious to the shifting thing. So that's one of the kind of elements that kind of makes things a little bit more difficult. So, the story's nothing bewildering. It's very simple, but it's very cute. You meet some very funny characters along the way. The writing's very good. The dialogue's very, very, very funny. It's just a very charming game, and I highly recommend it. It was described as like the perfect puzzle game by a lot of like the reviewers that I follow, which is like, video game reviewers are prone to hyperbole. So I kind of like put that in my back pocket, like, okay, whatever. If it goes on sale one day, I'll pick it up. But it's part of the Netflix games. So I was on Netflix one day and I saw, that game, it's free. I may as well try it. So I downloaded it, and I'm glad I did. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you have Netflix, it's free. You may as well give it a shot. It's called The Arranger. Yeah, even if you're not and the puzzles are not too hard either. And then this is the other part of it that I think it actually makes it like a kind of a perfect puzzle game. Is it's a linear game. It's not like a big open world game where there's lots of things to do and mysteries to be solved. It's like you go from point A, you need to get to point B.
Follow the story.
You know exactly where you have to go, and along the way you encounter a puzzle. And if you can't get by that puzzle, you can't progress the story. But none of the puzzles are so hard where, staring at it for a few minutes, you'll figure it out. So yeah, it's nice that it just gets you to focus on that one puzzle. You move on, you get another puzzle. So it's just the progression of it is very, very nice. So I definitely recommend it. It's called The Arranger. It's on Netflix. It's on every other console as well if you prefer to play it on Switch or PlayStation or whatever. But if you have Netflix,
so it's very loosely a mobile game. It's a game you can play on mobile.
You can play on anything, but the mobile version, I honestly think might be the definitive version, because all you're doing is going up, down, left, or right, and the swipe mechanic works fine. There's no timing you have to worry about. There's no precision or anything that requires a controller.
Can I ask a non-gamer question?
Sure.
When you say mobile game, I think cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, good. Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I was following.
That is a gamer question.
Okay.
I have a establishing detail question that's important to me. Can you die in the game?
No.
Oh, good.
Oh, love it.
I'm 100% more likely to play a game if you can't die in it.
Now that I know I can play it on my phone, I may even play it.
It's very user-friendly. There's no fail states.
You just go, and if you can't do it, you stop.
Yep. And even if you're stuck on the puzzle, like you can't figure it out, if you just mess around a little bit, you could probably figure it out just by swiping, and eventually it'll click. So definitely recommend it.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very fun, and it's very funny too. All right, that's my recommendation.
I have also some games that I would like to discuss.
Really?
I'm going to do a quick power ranking, I guess you could call these games, of my favorite New York Times puzzles, because I do them every day. So I guess that's what I'm into, because I do them consistently. So I'm going to rank them from least favorite to most favorite. So number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, my least favorite is Connections, which I think is a controversial opinion.
Wow, that is controversial.
I apologize. I know a lot of people in this building are big fans of Connections. Connections, you have a grid of 16 words, and there's 4 groups of 4. They're grouped by a category. Sometimes the categories are very simple. Well, not sometimes. They range from very simple to very...
esoteric.
You really have to think about it. And as you complete the categories, it tells you what order you get them in from least to most difficult. And I can almost never complete Connections. I usually get at least 2 categories, but then the last 2 categories are so opaque, and I don't want to waste my guesses, so I just give up on it and I never come back to it. So I don't know that Connections is for me. It's rewarding when you do get it, though.
That's fair.
Number 4, Strands, which is the newest game. Strands. It's a word search of letters arranged in a 6x8 grid. The words can bend in any direction, and each puzzle is themed. You are given a clue that will guide you to what the theme is. And there's also one long word or phrase that's called a spangram. And if you find words that are unrelated to the clue, you get hints. But I don't know. It's just a weird...
So it's not like a word search where they're like horizontal, vertical, diagonal. It's like it can bend
and swoop in and around themselves. I think this...
Sure I like that.
If it's an easy one, it's great. If not, because the words could be anywhere, going in any direction, back and forth. Like the letters don't cross, so there is that. But yeah, it's a hit or miss, and it was in beta for a really long time. I played while it was in beta. It's like, is this going to make it to the real puzzles? And it did. But I don't love it. They did do a library-themed one a couple days ago, which was fun. Well, but you can't play the archives, so it doesn't really matter.
So never mind.
Sorry. Number 3 is the regular crossword. It being number 3 doesn't mean that I don't like it. I like the crossword. But the later it gets into the week, the more difficult it gets, and then I have to do auto-check, and then I feel like I'm cheating. So Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, I like the crossword a lot. The rest of the week, it depends. Solid game/puzzle. Number 2 is your classic Wordle. I think everyone knows the Wordle. You have to guess a certain amount of guesses. Usually I can get the Wordle in 3, so because I'm pretty good at it, I like it.
What's your starting word?
My starting word at this point is crane, because the Wordle bot tells you that is the best starting word. I used to use Paris, and then the Wordle bot would be like, this is okay, but it could be better if you use crane, so I just gave up. I have a love-hate relationship with the Wordle bot, but what is your starting word? Do you have?
I don't play Wordle.
Okay.
I think when I did play it, I think it was like bread or something.
That's good. It's all the vowels in there.
Yeah.
Or some of the vowels. But yeah, nothing bad to say about a Wordle. Do you play Wordle?
I did for a while, and now I can't remember what my starting word was because I thought it was thread, but that's too many letters.
That is.
So I don't remember what my word was. Maybe it was tread, but I thought it was a... I love that little digraph. Thneed. Not really. But I was going to say I didn't like Wordle because I like having more guesses. So I would play Quordle, where you were trying to get 4 words simultaneously. Oh. So it's like Wordle, but it's on a larger grid where there's 4 of them. And so I would just jump around to whichever word felt easier for me to see if I could get the other ones.
And take a break from the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun.
And I would like warm up with Quordle and then go and play Wordle.
I used to play a lot of the Wordle like imitations or offshoots. Like there was a Broadway Wordle that I used to play, but you always come back to the original, I feel. And if I feel like I don't have enough guesses, I'll usually just go into a notepad and like start working it out. But so that's the Wordle. And then the number one.
Very exciting.
The mini crossword. This is the best because if you are good at it, it doesn't take a long time. There's one person who may or may not hear this who's going to feel salty that I'm bringing that up. But every day I try to do it as quickly as possible. Usually I hit around 35 seconds to 40 seconds. If it's hard, it might take me a minute. If it's easy, it might take me 25 seconds. The mini crossword is 5x5 grid, Monday through Friday, I think, and 7x7 on Saturdays. So it's supposed to be quick and easy. Every day at midnight, I do it immediately. Or as soon as they release it, I do it. I want to have time to think about it if there's some words I can't get. But I just like that it's quick. And it's very, the clues are very, I would say timely, like very, because I went back into the archives to do some of the minis from 2014, and they were making references to stuff that was so dated. Like one of the clues, the answer was TiVo. Like, what do you use to record shows? And the answer was TiVo. TiVos. It's like, okay. So the reason that it's easy now is because I'm on the pulse of what's hip, I guess.
Tory on the pulse.
That's my feature on this podcast, I guess. But yeah, so if you like to do a little puzzle, I think the mini is a good way to get into doing crosswords and then build yourself up to do it.
I love crossword puzzles, and there was a point in my life where I was doing them every single day for years. But you know, the thing that like always holds me back from getting back into it is I forgot like the language of crossword puzzles. So like I don't even know what it's asking me half the time. Like, is this a pun? Like, how am I You know what I mean? I know that's part of it, but it's like, for the people who do the crossword puzzles regularly, you know exactly what it's asking you.
The mini and doing the Monday puzzles is a good way to work yourself up to that, because especially the Monday is designed to be so easy. They're not giving that kind of clue where you have to figure out what they're asking and then figure out what a word for that would be. That's like the Saturdays. But the earlier in the week ones, they're like, it's like you're training to get up to that point.
Right.
And sometimes it'll have a lot of those, like the words that they use a lot to fill gaps. So by the time you get to the more difficult ones in the week, you're like, okay, I prepared. I studied for this. Like, it's a test. But I feel that sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I don't have the brain power to think about all this.
I don't know what this means.
What are you asking me? But that's what the mini is for. So.
Can I ask a question about the New York Times? Is the New York Times puzzle app, is that what you play it on?
Yes, but there's also a website.
Do you have to have a paid subscription to New York Times to play? Is that right?
I think that you can play them for free, but it won't save your history or anything like that, and you can't access the archives. Mm-hmm. I do pay for a subscription. I had like a student discount, and that's how I got into it, because it just was like, well, I might as well use it. But you can play them without a subscription.
Interesting. All right, maybe I'll download it.
Check it out. Do some minis.
Everyone's talking about it. I got to do it. I need to be on the pulse of the gaming world. And this is a big part of the gaming world now.
If you're not playing Connections, who are you? And what are you doing? Is what others are saying, I'm assuming, because I don't love it.
You are. But are you still playing it, whether you love it or not?
I'll do it every couple days and see, like, is this one that I can do? But I don't automatically. I also skip, there's other puzzles in the app or available that I don't do, like the Sudoku, and there's one called Tiles that I don't like, and the Spelling Bee. But
I don't like Spelling Bee.
No, me neither. I'll start out really enjoying it, and then when I start to run out of words, it makes me mad.
I only know so many.
words. And they're short, the words I know. Anyway, that's my game.
That's a game.
Puzzles are
You're
games.
a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
Statistically speaking, you are a gamer.
I play the games that you relate to the least, but I do play games.
You and your heady New York Times games. I'm over here arranging things.
I once again do not have something that is related to what either of you are talking about, even a little bit. I do not have a game, and now I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious about bringing up my thing.
I can't wait to hear what it is.
Friendship bracelets.
Ooh.
I'm being laughed at.
A supportive laugh.
Okay.
There have been weirder things brought to this table. What are you into?
Okay, so it's really... Alex introduced it by saying that you had, before, when we first started this pod, you said you had a book, you had a game, maybe you said something else. And so I didn't hear that part because I was like, I need to write down what I'm thinking right now and stop listening to what's happening around me. And so I typed in my notes app a concept, a person, and a book. And so my concept and person are kind of related. But it's important to note, in a not bragging way, that I went to see Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour last week. Which personally for me was like a very important thing. I love Taylor Swift since I was in middle school, and I'm almost 30 and went to see her last week with some of my best friends, and it was really, really special. And something that has kind of grown throughout this tour that she's been on for like a year and a half now is that fans have been making friendship bracelets for each other and exchanging them at the shows. And so the show I went to happened to be in Germany, which was really special, because I wasn't sure what the international fans were going to be doing. So my friends and I all traveled with our own little box of beads, and we sat at the hotel the night before the concert making friendship bracelets, and it was super cute and super fun. And then at the actual show, a bunch of girls from all over the world were coming around and like trading bracelets with us, and it was very cute and very sweet and very fun. And we even traded bracelets with someone who was standing near us at the concert, who was none other than Flavor Flav of noted hip-hop group Public Enemy. And I know nothing about him other than the fact, well, I hadn't known anything about him until this week, other than the fact that he wore a big clock almost at all times. And we were on the floor of the concert, which is also an insane thing that happened. And because we felt older than the majority of the fans there, we were not 16, we were like, oh, this is like the sound booth. We're going to lean up against this barricade and hang out here instead of trying to fight to be in front of the stage. And all of a sudden a security guard came over to us and they were like, you can't lean on this because that is the VIP booth and you're not supposed to like lean on it or talk to them or interact with them. And we were like, okay. And they're like, you can stay here as long as you're going to, be respectful. And we're like, okay, totally fine. We just want to see Taylor Swift. And then all of a sudden, Flavor Flav walks out and it's this man with a clock.
Oh, he did have a clock?
He did have a clock. And I was like, is that Flavor Flav? And my friends were like, I don't know, because they also didn't know anything about him until he held up. We thought it was sitting on his seat, like holding his spot. But I think he actually made it and brought it with him. But it was like a big sign that said, Flavor Flav, King Swifty. And he was like holding it above his head and like shaking it to get people's attention. So I don't think he cared whether or not people talked to him, despite what the security was saying. So I was like, okay, so it's officially him. It was great. We have a bunch of pictures that we took of each other, my friends and I, that he's in the background of. And he had a companion with him that was taking pictures and videos the whole time that I can guarantee I am in all of. So I'm all over Flavor Flav's companion's camera roll, which is crazy. But people kept coming up to him throughout the concert and giving him friendship bracelets, which was really cute and really sweet. And my friend gave him one. I went to give him one that I had made, but then I didn't want to interrupt him because
he was waving a sign.
He wasn't waving a sign. He was standing on his chair, like scream singing along to Taylor Swift. Oh, he's the King Swifty, Tory. Like he was not making that up.
Read the sign, Tory.
Like standing on a chair, like really into it, perhaps more into it than I was, which was crazy. I mean, not great, good for him, but like I thought I was very into it. So I didn't want to interrupt him. He was having a moment. So I do still have the bracelet. Flav, if you're listening to this, it says fearless and it was just for you. But anyway, since that moment, I've learned that he's gone on to be like the #1 supporter / sponsor of the U.S. women's water polo team at the Olympics. And I also think that's very cool. So I went from knowing about nothing about him to I've seen a lot of him this week in the news. And I feel like we kickstarted his wild week together when we experienced the Eras Tour.
Interesting character.
He's having a bit of a moment. Every 10 years or so, I feel like he has a moment, and now his moment is being the King Swifty
at the
and
Olympics.
Sponsoring the Olympics team.
I guess that
With my
explains
friend's
why he
friendship
was in
bracelet.
Germany.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was on his way.
On his way to
Yeah.
the Olympics.
Wow.
He stopped. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And the clock he was wearing was actually the water polo clock. And he was wearing like a Team USA hat. And I was like, wow, he's on his way to the Olympics. And he actually was.
I wonder what his connection is to the water polo.
I think he just respects the grind of them a lot. And I think I read something about, like, women's teams don't get a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. So he was trying to help bring some attention to a team that he felt deserved it. And, like, he's monetarily sponsoring them so that they can do their practices and not have to worry about, like, real jobs.
Yeah, I did do a deep dive on it, and I found out, I forget her name, which is unfortunate. I should probably be giving her a shout out, but one of the players, I guess when the team was officially announced, like made a post talking about how hard that all the women have been working on the team and how some of them have 2 or 3 jobs to support themselves and be able to continue to afford to play and train in this sport. And he like commented and left like a very lengthy comment on her post, like, hey, I don't want you to have to worry about this anymore. My manager is already in contact with your coach. Like, I want to financially support this team. And so he did that, but now he's also there kind of being their, like, unofficial mascot and, like, very vocally cheering them on, which I think is really cool.
Good for him.
Shout out to Flav.
My close personal friend.
Friend of the pod.
Wild stuff. Mm-hmm. How do I follow that up?
Yeah, sorry.
Can you?
That was me thinking about not being a gamer, and then I was like, friendship bracelets?
Okay, so the last thing I'm bringing to the table today is a movie. I don't know how I had not heard of this movie until very recently, but boy, is it a hidden gem. It came out in 1996. This movie is called Big Night. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
It was co-written and directed by Stanley Tucci. In 1996, it stars Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub. They are Italian immigrants who are brothers, and they open up an Italian restaurant called Paradise. Tony Shalhoub is the genius chef, and Stanley Tucci is the everything else. It's a very small operation. So it's basically they're struggling to make it in America. Their business is not catching on. It's not, gathering up enough steam to keep going. They're in a bit of a financial pinch. So Stanley Tucci comes up with a scheme, basically, to put all of their bread in one basket, per se, on one big night where they're going to invite a very famous Italian singer and his band to come to the restaurant, and they're going to put on a feast. And hopefully that will garner attention to the restaurant. So that's kind of like the plot that underlies everything else. This movie is so charming, and this cast is amazing. Listen to this. First of all, Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub. Great.
Sold already.
Say less.
Ian Holm, one of my favorite character actors, is a not rival. He's sort of like he owns another Italian restaurant who's sort of advising Stanley Tucci, and kind of, I don't want to get too much into it, but Ian Holm plays a major role. Minnie Driver is Stanley Tucci's love interest. Young Allison Janney is Tony Shalhoub's sort of love interest. Mark Anthony is
The singer?
The singer has a very, very small part, one of his first acting roles. And Liv Schreiber is also in it as another very, very small role, one of his first acting roles. This movie is just like so utterly charming. If you're looking for a movie that is well made but not hitting on any dark tones or covering any like extremely heavy subject matters or anything, this has none of that. It's just a very competently made movie. Most of the movie is shot in this very small, warm Italian restaurant and in the kitchen, which I loved as a former cook. Tony Shalhoub's hilarious. His character is a very typical disgruntled chef, and there's a famous scene right in the beginning of the movie where this American customer orders risotto and didn't really understand what it was and is upset with it, and then orders like a side of pasta instead, and he gets all upset like that you can't order two starches together, and they gets like freaks out and comes. It's just like a very hilarious scene. Tony Shalhoub has a line in the movie: "To eat good food is to be close to God," and I think that is kind of like this, like that is like the theme of the movie that kind of ties everything together. So despite like all the trials and tribulations that they go through, like the food is always central there in like the story, and even when they're going through like the worst hard times, like you can tell like they're gonna make it because they always have that. And the final act of this movie, I'm not really spoiling anything, is that big night, the feast, and it's like a scene I just wanted to live in forever. Like it was just like so charming. Like all the characters there on like you just want to be sitting at the table and just having a great time with all of these people, and they just keep bringing out course after course after course, and you're just like, don't watch this movie hungry because you're gonna go crazy.
Make some pasta and eat it while you watch
exactly.
the movie.
But not pasta and risotto.
No.
Because,
Don't mix two starches. And then the final shot of this movie is one of the best final shots of any movie. I put it up there with any movie. It's such a good final shot. It's just a charming, warm movie. Again, it's just going to leave you a smile on your face. The themes are like brotherhood and, it's not, and food. Yeah, it's not, you're not going to like be down and thinking about any whatever dark topics or anything. Like this is just like a great movie for all ages.
This feels like Alex's version of like a cozy.
It's a total cozy movie for me. It's a restaurant movie, which I love. The whole vibe, they captured that perfectly. I love that it's like unrealistically small staff, like it's two people basically running this restaurant, which is unrealistic, but you don't care because you get to watch Tony Shalhoub just like doing his thing in the kitchen. And there's so many shots of just no dialogue, of just people just cooking or like running a restaurant, and I'm just like that's good. I just
feels
want
like
to
it's
watch
before
it.
its time of like the videos now that people will just watch of cooking online.
Yeah.
Just to watch someone cook. Let them cook.
Yeah. Let it cook.
I will say
to cook since 1996.
and they cooked.
It's time.
I will say, after you said Tony Shalhoub and Stanley Tucci, I have seen that scene with the risotto and the pasta. People share that scene on Reddit all the time.
Really?
With no they'll explain what it's from, but every time I'm like, what is this movie? So now I have some context for the scene, and gotta check out the rest of it.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, I don't know. It'll just leave you with a smile on your face. I highly, highly recommend it. If you're looking for a good movie to watch, put it on. Big Night.
You could do a whole series of the Between the Shelves Nights movies, Big Night and White Nights, that I mentioned in a previous episode. Do a double feature. Two very different movies.
A double feature for the super fans.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, check it out. Big Night.
I will.
I have a third thing, which is not a movie, so our link has been severed. Unfortunately, we're not on the same wavelength. But mine is a song that I've been into. I haven't been keeping up with K-pop as much as I should have over the past year, just because life gets in the way. But sometimes I will experience a song through social media and see it rise, and then now I'm aware of it. And that happened with the song Sticky by Kiss of Life. And they're a newish up-and-coming girl group. I think they debuted last year, and this is their second single. And it's just a really refreshing, summery song. It's an Afrobeat song. It's got a dance that has gone viral, which is something I always like in a K-pop song. So I'll see people doing the dance online all the time, and it's mostly chorus. It's a very short song, and the chorus is an earworm. Like, it's got lyrics. It's about like a fun summer romance that the girls in the group are experiencing. And I've seen a lot of people saying, because I think their first release and some of their other work has been like more hip-hop focused, but this is really light and summery. And they're being compared to a veteran group that is no longer together that was called Sistar, and they were called the Summer Queens because every year they would come out with like a sexy, fun summer hit that people would listen to every summer for years after. People still listen to the Sistar summer songs. So people are saying that Kiss of Life are the new Summer Queens, and if they keep up stuff like this song, I would agree. Just a fun song if you want something to drive around to.
Sounds fun. I love a good summer song.
It's Kiss of Life's Sticky.
Excellent. I'm actually very excited for my last thing because I have a movie that's older. So finally I'm on some kind of a wavelength that's happening in here. It's actually 2004. I'm not a big movie person in general just because of my attention span. So recently I found myself in the last month or so just wanting to watch a movie, and I've watched two movies that were both put out in 2004, which is 20 years ago now. And I realized as I was sitting here thinking about it, but they were both lightly patriotic, which felt appropriate for the Olympics. So actually on my flight home from the concert the other day, I watched Chasing Liberty with Mandy Moore, which for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a fantastic film straight out of 2004. Mark Harmon, who some of you may know and love as Leroy Jethro Gibbs from NCIS.
I wasn't expecting the whole name.
Oh, the whole name is necessary. Love him. He plays the President of the United States. And his daughter is Mandy Moore, who is newly 18, heading for college, wants to be able to live a normal life, like a normal teenage girl, wants to be able to go out on a date without Secret Service ruining it. And so Mark Harmon, a.k.a. Leroy Jethro Gibbs, a.k.a. President of the United States, plots with the Secret Service to basically hire an agent that is going to pose as just a guy to let her think that she's meeting this man and falling in love, but also is safe and protected the whole time.
I'm obsessed with this setup.
It's excellent. It's actually not, because I had seen the movie and I forgot how
dated
also insane 18-year-olds are. Because that is crazy. You are the first daughter of the United States and you just want to like wander around Europe with some random man you just met. Like, good for you, girly, but also so dangerous. Like, no wonder Mark Harmon, aka Leroy Jethro Gibbs, aka the president, was really upset about it. But
Who's the love interest? Who's the agent?
a guy.
Matthew Good is the actor.
Matthew Good.
It was great.
Sorry, that's a great option.
This is a great movie. So anyway, they like go around Europe, and it's really fun. And then, you know, she finds out at some point that he's really a Secret Service agent, which isn't a spoiler because that makes sense. But still, great movie, highly recommend. And then another movie, also from 2004, that again is kind of patriotic, is Miracle, which is...
Is this a sports movie?
It is a sports movie.
Movie.
It's about the 1980 men's hockey team for the U.S. Olympics in Lake Placid. And I'd heard about that movie for a really long time, but I never saw it. Like, I remember my brother and my dad went to, like, a midnight release of it in 2004. Like, it was a big deal. But in 2004, I was in elementary school, and that was a boy movie, so I wasn't interested in seeing it. But I did watch it recently, and it was awesome. Like, it was just, I didn't understand because I wasn't there, like, the political and social context of what was happening at the games. So it was really interesting to see that through the movie. I thought it was done really well. But throughout the film, it shows how this team, which at the time, they were all...
College students, right?
College students. It was non-professional players that just came and they tried out, and right away Kurt Russell plays the coach, and he like knows who he wants, and none of the guys really, they're all from different colleges and they're rivals and they're definitely not teammates yet. And it's crazy to see how he worked so hard to form that team, and they're not just guys from their individual colleges or their individual small towns, like they're all United States hockey players. And it was really interesting. And then they go on and they play the game, which isn't a spoiler because it's history. They end up beating the Russian team in the Olympics, and it's a really big deal, which was cool. I really enjoyed it, and it was just
one of the best sports stories in
like
real
ever.
life ever,
Yeah.
and well, at least for America. And but yeah, I remember seeing this in high school, I guess, is when it came out for me, and I remember loving it at the time. I want to rewatch it because I do love hockey, and I love a good sports movie. So I wonder if it holds up. I'm gonna rewatch it.
Granted, right, I hadn't seen it, so I hope it holds up. But it was heartwarming. It was exciting. There's this one scene where they lose a game, and Kurt Russell makes them like stay on the ice and like do these really intense drills. Which when I played sports, we called them suicides, which is probably not appropriate to call them anymore. Definitely not appropriate to call them anymore. But that's definitely what they called them in 1980. And they were doing these very intense skating drills on the ice. And he made them keep going and keep going. They like shut down the rink. They turned off the lights. Like, it was kind of hard to watch. But then at the end, they were really bonded in kind of hating their coach. But then they finally had like a thing to bond them. It was really powerful. It was really... not powerful. I was going to say it was really enjoyable. That scene wasn't enjoyable to watch,
movie
but
was powerful.
the emotions that you were able to feel that it inspired was really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot.
I gotta rewatch this.
Just in time for the Olympics. I mean, even though
Perfect.
it's summer, there's no hockey in these ones, but
There should be summer hockey.
I'd watch it.
Field hockey.
Yeah, but they don't wear ice skates.
No, they don't.
Roller hockey.
There you go. Brink.
Speaking of 2004.
The first movie you talked about sounded to me, I was like, My Date with the President's Daughter? Like,
Yeah. Well, your book reminded me of Smart House.
oh yeah.
Do you know Smart House, Alex?
No.
Oh my God.
We got to do a Disney Channel original movie episode because we were talking about DCOMs yesterday, and Alex has to see some of these.
Do I though?
Alex watches DCOMs. It'll be the
He's
best
going to-
episode
yeah.
yet.
Alex hasn't seen.
Like
We were talking about
subscribe.
Xenon.
Girl of the 21st century.
We'll see. We'll see.
Next episode.
coming.
It'll be so
The
good.
next trio episode of,
Yeah.
of us three.
All right, I think that's everything we have for this episode. Okay, great. Meg, thanks again for coming. Tory, it's always a pleasure. And stay tuned. I think next episode we're doing our Weird Westerns episode, so stay tuned for that.
Should be weird.
If you like weird Western movies, we've got 3 choice films for you.
Some selections. Also, if they end up being movies that you like, They're not weird. They're normal.
wonderful.
It's just westerns. They're normal westerns. We don't think they're weird.
Unconventional Western movies.
Not weird at all. They're great.
All right, that's all we've got. We'll see you next time between the shelves.